luncheon some time ago. Found a bunch of blank name cards and folders on the table and filled his pockets with them when nobody was looking. That should tell you all you need to know about him. Sufficient to also say, since I'm telling you the story, you won't be meeting him tonight. So the place was empty. It was snowing really hard that morning, and I was the manager. I had already been snowing really hard, so I had to come in early and tell our other two waitresses that they needed to stay home. I don't often get the place to myself like this. I was looking for more news about the storm and turned on the radio to a classical music station that we don't usually have on when the customers are here.
She stops when she picks up WNYC, which is playing Dame Kirite Kanawa singing Quando Menvo.
I love this. I don't know the whole song and I don't speak Italian, but I love this part.
And that was Dame Kirite Kanawa, her rendition of Quando Menvo from La Boheme concert last year from the Sydney Opera House. And at this moment, we, that is all of us who are in the metropolitan area this morning, are under an officially designated blizzard according to the National Weather Service. There are currently 6 inches of snow on the ground, and the 35-mile-per-hour winds are raising drifts reported as high as 3 to 5 feet in some areas. The winds will die down about noontime, but as many as 8 more inches are expected before the storm finally ends at about 6 o'clock tonight. Metro North and the Long Island Railroad are running behind schedule, as are the surface buses, but the subways carry on courageously.
Anthony?
Regina? Hi.
What do you want?
Cup of coffee?
There's nothing to eat. The delivery truck stopped running.
I just need some coffee.
You're a jerk.
I know. You sell coffee to jerks and blizzards?
I'll get the strychnine.
As long as it's hot. So, it's 1976, the bicentennial year, where they'll have big sailing ships, and you'll be able to see them from here. You're right by the Brooklyn Bridge. It's like crossing the North Pole out there. The wind whips right off these buildings. It's like a cyclone.
I was going to close up.
All I need is coffee. We were working a job at Lafayette Street. I let my crew go early. They went up to Canal Street.
I don't care. I don't care about the ships. I don't care about the bicentennials. I wouldn't have cared if you froze out there. I haven't cared about you in 3 years. Finish your coffee and then go.
I didn't know you were here. This is the only place that's open. Are you the only waitress?
I'm the manager, thanks for asking. We have other 2 girls, but with the storm I called them earlier and told them to stay home.
Great place.
It is what it is. Don't like it? Don't stay. The owner couldn't find a tenant for the rent he wanted, so he opened this place. He's talking about retiring, Florida, and he'll sell the whole building. But enough about me. I heard your father kicked you out.
Yeah. News travels fast. How long have you been working here?
When did you dump me at the church?
3 years ago. And it wasn't at the church.
So it works out to being 2 years and 3 months since I started here. My father's in the restaurant supply business. The owner was one of his customers. I started as a waitress. Now I'm the manager. I tally up the receipts, I lock the doors, and I see the place gets clean all day long. And I didn't need you once. Got that?
Got it.
So, when exactly did you decide to dump me?
2 weeks before the wedding, and it was wrong. I should have told you before.
How long before?
When I knew I loved someone else.
And when was that?
6 weeks before I proposed to you. Am I going to have to pay for that?
You never paid for anything. You walked into my home and dropped your palm after we sent out the invitations. Oh, well, we were figuring out who was going to pick up
into your house and told you to your face, and it was in front of your father. I expected him to gulp me. I had it coming. You, your mother, your sisters, and your brother turned into statues. By the way, you probably know already that no one from the neighborhood will talk to me.
Oh, just too tough.
That is all the families we knew that were still there. Lots of people have gone out to the island or up to Westchester. The factory jobs are going, and there are more vacant stores on the streets than I remember.
So all of a sudden you're Studs Terkel? You know my family. They don't read. The rest of the world can go to hell as far as they're concerned, as long as they can keep going.
If nobody in your family reads, how do you know Studs Terkel? You read his book, Working?
What do you care what I read? You dumped me. It was all arranged and then you dumped me.
I know your father's tight about money. Did he offer to pay the bills?
After you left, my father sat me down with a big yellow pad, and together we worked out just how much he was stuck for, and he asked me how I was going to pay him back.
Did I ever mention when we were together that I thought your father was a jerk?
How dare you?
I'm a father myself now. A girl and a boy. If someday my daughter gets dumped by some guy just before her wedding, I won't tell her that I want my money back, and my wife feels the same way.
Your wife? Oh, the one that you dumped me for. Right. The spick?
I've heard it before. It sounds uglier coming from you. And since we're talking to each other now, let's get the rules straight. You can call me every name in creation. I rate it. But don't start on her and not my kids, because they're important. Because if they aren't, then what I did to you didn't mean anything.
I don't want to see their pictures. I don't want to know their names. They're nobodies to me.
Did your father help at all?
I didn't want my father to help. It was my mess and I was responsible. I had to prove that I was Regina Carmody. I'm worth something, and I proved it with no help from anybody. Not my sisters, or my mother, or my brother. I'd show you how Anthony Bonacrosi were too stupid to see what was right in front of you. So, what happened? I've got to live with it. I want to know.
I met her on a job. I just started working with my cousin Dino, the contractor. We were in this dentist's office putting in a new spit sink. She was the doctor's assistant. The doctor had a patient in the chair, so we had to wait. She and I started to talk. She reminded me of you. It was like it used to be with us. I didn't break up with you because I just started hating you. She's like you. She really talks to people and really listens when people talk to her.
So you were bored with me?
We started talking. It was like the best times I ever had with you, where we could talk to each other and each of us knew what the other one meant. Most of the time I'm trying to tell people what I think, and it's like I started speaking Chinese. They just don't get it. So I start repeating whatever they say, and most of the time they don't even notice. They just want you to agree with them.
Well, maybe I'm one of those other people.
It was like that movie we saw where this town was invaded by people from outer space. It looked like everyone in the town, only they were dead inside. And only two people knew what was happening. And they raced around trying to warn everyone.
The girl's name was Dana Winter, and you had a crush on her.
She reminded me of you.
What? You thought that I was built in British?
No. I thought you were you.
If you don't start making sense, you'll wear this coffee home. How did I go from being the woman that you love to being the queen of the replicants?
You've been doing some reading? First working, and now invasion of the body snatchers?
Answer me. Your family, my family, it wouldn't have mattered to them if the whole world outside the neighborhood went straight to hell. That's them. It wouldn't have been that way with us.
I wanted to be married to you since we were kids. But the closer we got to the wedding, I could see that we would have turned into our parents.
What?
Like our folks. My mother and father, your mother and father, they acted like existence was something they didn't want but were stuck with. Like it's a big imposition when they think it's safer not to want anything and do what everyone else does. that there's nothing to be done about it. Just get used to it.
You're crazy.
Did you ever hear your mother and father laugh together? Mine didn't. And it wasn't only days when they were dealing with mortgages and bills and raising kids.
And who do you think you are?
I'm me, Anthony Boniface. No big star. Thanks for the reminder. But you and I were going to be together after they all moved away. And we see them only once or twice a year. What were we going to do then? Well, we had a routine and nothing else.
So what about this one that you married? Did she tell you when she's ticked off? Does she carry a knife like Carmen?
Where did you hear about Carmen?
This place closes at noon on Saturday. I'm on my own a lot now. I started listening to the opera on Saturday afternoon.
You listen to the opera with any of your old girlfriends?
No. We don't see so much of each other anymore. I was the one who lost her fiancé to another woman. Someone from the outside. I was damaged goods, or too naive to be believed. My mother told me and my sisters, give a guy enough to know he's horny and then hook him. It would work for all of them, my friends, my sisters, and their friends. She thought that you and I had been sneaking around since we were 15 and doing it like rabbits behind their back, and you left because you were bored with me.
Can't win for losing. By the way, did I ever mention I was never really thrilled with your mother either? And your sisters and your friends? Never really liked you so much.
You are crazy.
Tell me you weren't desperate to get out of your mother's house. Like everything was going to be great once you were out. Nothing stays fixed, Regina. You're either going one way or the other. My father, he had that shop in the Navy Yard for 12 years. And for 12 years, he kept a string of women going. Tuesdays and Thursdays without fail. Mostly Hispanic. Some black women if you wanted variety. Didn't want them next door, but...
And your brothers didn't know?
Of course they knew. And I finally found out that summer I worked with me. One woman, she showed up after closing time and they argued. My father belted her with his fist, screamed at her. I got between them. My brother Nunzio heard, and he came in fast. The woman was married. She had a baby girl. I don't know if the baby was his.
And your brothers covered for him?
They were rooting for him. That's exactly what they wanted. Plenty of money coming in, so get whatever you can outside. You keep the wife for the neighbors and the kids to keep the house going. Figured he was entitled to whatever he could get for being such a great father. He's the boss. Who's going to tell him he can't? My mother is old country. As long as they had a roof over their heads, the kids were fed and clothed, it's good enough for her. I knew you didn't want it. But what if you changed? What if one morning you decided it was just too much trouble thinking for yourself and you acted like them?
We don't know that's what would have happened.
The closer we got to it, everything was about the wedding. And nothing would stop that. Like saying what we really felt. Nobody wanted that.
Why didn't you ask me?
You would have put me off until after the wedding. I could have goose-stepped into your house in a Gestapo uniform and said, Hitler had the right idea. And you would have said, Tony, you're so funny.
I was never that stupid. I was the last of 4 girls. My folks wanted to retire, get out of that house that they lived in for 40 years and enjoy themselves. In Florida. Everything would be all right then.
So you had to make them happy by getting yourself off their hands?
No, it wasn't like that.
Let's change the subject for a minute. Still have a balance of what you owe your father?
What do you care?
I want you to see something.
Save it for somebody who cares.
What my wife and I have is precious. It costs a lot. And you paid for part of it. So my wife and I decided we should pay you back. Still not allowed to use her name? I got a price list from the catering house you used for the wedding. We opened a special account at the bank. My wife doesn't think you're helpless or a charity case, but since you don't want to meet her, you'll have to take my word for it. This is what's in the account. If you want, I can send you a cashier's check to your house. I still know the address. If there's anything left over, keep it. like your cousins much?
What do you care? You gonna snatch me off the damaged goods table and sling me over your white Charger?
No. Well, getting back to the point, what do your parents do with themselves now that they're in Florida?
My father still sells restaurant supplies. Lots of places to eat where they are now. He's out of the house 8 or 10 hours a day, sometimes 6 days a week.
Like you did up here? And your mother keeps house?
My sister Ellen lives down there with her husband and their kids. She teaches school. My other sisters live in California and Texas. My brother has a job at Cape Kennedy.
So, they all got exactly what they wanted. Good for them. You see them?
Christmas and Easter, if I could get the time off. They don't insist much. So, what about you?
We live in Park Slope now. Kind of on the edge. Black and Puerto Rican families. A boy and girl in St. Pius. I'm partners with my cousin now. Our brothers run the business.
Your father retired?
He died 2 months ago. Just collapsed. I heard about it in the obituaries.
Did you go to the funeral? Your mother didn't ask you to come?
It's the way he wanted. He could have been his 4th grandson and his 1st granddaughter. I respect your father's wishes, she told me when I called. Respect. Yeah, real big on respect, my father.
Your wife. Did you choose her because of what your father did? Was it penance for him?
How does anybody know something starts? I wasn't thinking about him when I was talking to her. I felt alive. When I talked to my father, I felt dead.
There were some whispers about him in the neighborhood. I heard them. I didn't want to know. I didn't really care. I thought after we were married, we'd have our own little perfect world and nobody could touch us. Is it perfect with her?
Perfect? Heck no. She's got me every day. I'm not easy to live with.
There are a lot around who are worse.
You know, you don't have to stay here. I mean, this place doesn't look like they'll keep it open much longer.
There are lots of places a good waitress can work.
Not only work.
You're not trying to rescue me from the damaged goods table.
No. You're good. You don't belong in the damaged goods table. It's 1976, the bicentennial year. Fresh starts.
I thought about it. And a lot since then. He didn't owe me. He didn't break us up. I did. He needed me and I let him down. It won't change what happened, but it changed me. I will never, ever sell myself out for security that secures nothing. If I ever do, then none of this meant anything. Tony? Tony, you were right.
Obviously, we have 4 great plays we saw tonight, and we have a couple of new authors here tonight, so I'd like to ask them to come up and stand up here to the stage. First, Superman, written by Jim Cole. Stephen John Walsh to come up for 3 years later.
And we'll talk about him a little bit, but
first, the other plays that were done, OMG by Pete Myrtle, and They Say It's My Birthday by Nancy Palmento Schuler. I think we'll start, Jim, just basically talking about Superman because you brought him to an interesting time in his life. But first, a little bit about how that play came about and what inspired you to write it.
With all the movies that came about with superheroes, so I started thinking about superheroes. And then I started to think about politically correct, because this, in my opinion, everything is just politically correct. And I thought, what if we had a superhero who wasn't politically correct? So in this little story, I was able to make fun of, both sides, left and right. So if you remember, there was a part in there about President Bush. There's a part in there about, though he's only considered the mayor, it just says the mayor, it's Bill de Blasio. Then there's one about CNN. There's one about Fox News. So it's just trying to make fun of what I consider everybody being too politically correct. And that's how, and it just meshed. At least I thought it meshed. And I put a little, I guess, a hook at the end because you start thinking it's Superman, but really it's somebody who thinks he's Superman, his wife who's trying to help him cope with the fact he thinks he's Superman, and she's trying to help him. And then, of course, it's the end where she's telling her mother on the phone that it's just the medication that's trying to help her. And that's how I came up with this.
And Stan Jones is talking about setting that piece up in particular. I mean, obviously, Stan, you've really method acting on that. Just to talk a little bit about bringing that in. And Joanne as well to talk about it.
Of course I got into the part. I wanted to be Superman. Who doesn't, Jim, who doesn't want to be Superman in some way, shape, or form? So I got the Superman shirt and some of the other items to make it fit better. And had a lot of fun with the role because why not? I was Superman and let the world figure that out if they wanted to. Of course, Joanne probably had another spin.
Well, from my end, it was hard to make the balance of she really knows he isn't, but she's humoring him, but have the audience go along with it until the end. So that was the challenge of the play.
Thank you. Now we'll talk to Stephen about 3 years later. A very interesting piece because obviously set the bicentennial, but also talks about a lot of different layers about a relationship that comes back together in a different manner.
Thank you. Before I get started, to the two actors, thank you very much. And yeah, you can. How it came about, I'm still trying to decide, except that these started with an assignment to write a one-act play, which has gone through about 12 drafts. And it took me that long to get it this right. Actually, I would really like to hear from you folks in the audience. Did you believe what was happening between these two characters? I think okay. Well, what I was thinking was that I guess the theme of the play is change. They're at a point in '76 where the nation's marking it, and it's also a time when the two characters, where their families were, that's also changing, and they usually don't like it. The old manufacturing jobs were going. The idea that you could graduate with a high school degree, get a job, or go for the civil service, and that's it. And it'll be the house and kids, and everybody has kids, everybody has a house, everybody has a family. And that was starting to show signs. And I think if you want to tell that story, you have to tell it from the point of view of the people who have been either told that they don't fit in are learning that there's no place for them. At least not with this. I did used to work down there, not far from Civic Center, and we did have a blizzard there. I don't know if anybody remembers the radio announcer. He was Steve Post. He was the morning man. He was the only morning disc jockey I knew of who was being treated for depression. He had wonderful vocabulary. He would deliver somewhat rambling, and you could get classical music on business morning. Pardon? Anyway, from then on in, it's just in writing and rewriting and rewriting and rewriting, it started to come together.
And Steve, just to talk about the rewriting, how long did it take you to kind of like develop it through? I know you said the process is still going, but were there certain pieces or certain parts of the piece that changed along the way as you're trying to get into that direction?
Well, yes, originally when I had Regina come out, I thought everything should be silent, at least there, and have her go across the floor, and then in turn, the first sound you would hear would be that segment from Dame Carey's song. And then thinking about it, we probably would lose a lot of people would be confused trying to figure out what's going on, and I want them to get to know these characters right away. So that's when I came up with the idea of her. Matter of fact, in a later draft that I've got, Regina is recalling this evening, that morning, because she has since become, she's taught school, and she's now going to be a principal. So she has excelled. There's more to, there's more to for her than the damaged goods table.
And maybe just to talk to Barbara and the piece of developing the characters themselves.
Yes.
Talking a little bit about how, quite frankly, a lot of the layers of the characters themselves, trying to make sure that each one of their points of view came across. Just to talk a little bit about how that
Oh God, I'm really bad at this. Yeah, I think for me it was tough because of the. I mean, I don't want to sound silly, but because of the time period and getting into that mindset of Regina being younger in 1976 and coming from that family with expectations. So I think trying to channel that and then, seeing where she's coming from with that, but then, like what you said, that at the end, that she is elevating in the world and that she does end up, becoming a better person and achieving more in her life than what she has to do to be like a waitress to pay off all of those debts and just being a girl who's going to marry into like quote unquote, I guess, an arranged family that she's been dating for so long. What's expected, yeah. Yeah, that she can exceed that. Yeah.
I'm glad you brought up the picture area where in 76, these were neighborhoods where the women's movement hadn't shown up yet.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, it probably would have been lynched if they so they're kind of maybe the beginning of that idea since at least World War II that a woman could find her own path, and it didn't stop marriage and all the people and thinking exactly like everybody you've grown up with.
Yeah.
I was going to say, for these, you're taking the other point of view, though, because now you have to come back, try to explain everything that happened. We talk about where you came from in the character to kind of like develop that part of it.
Yeah, it was very interesting. I was going to say, for Barbara and I have worked several times already, so this is cool. It made it a lot easier, right, to get like the chemistry going. What I noticed with Anthony Bonaface is that he's a little similar to me, myself. We're very analytical, deep thinker, really just, takes his time to figure things out, because you can tell throughout the dialogue that it was almost as if they were like a married couple, just kind of had a little back and forth, and there was still a little bit of emotion there. But he really thought it through. He's like, hey, things are great, but there's all these other levels that he was considering, like the future, and being very careful. And then, he was just being very thoughtful about, saving the money for her and everything. So it was very interesting. I really enjoyed how it was very grounded in like reality, where it's about relationships, about people, and that people can relate to.
Fantastic job all around. Thank you so much. And I guess I wanted to mention a little bit from an acting standpoint, because obviously since the authors aren't here tonight, talking a little bit about OMG and talking about what, quite frankly,